Good morning, friends. It's Mrs. Thomas here. Today we're going to talk about the solar system. I had drew a solar system on my blackboard so you could see the different planets and how they are arranged in the solar system. So I'm going to read you the book, The Magic School Bus. I'm Miss Frizzle, and here's all the planets on my head. Let's get started. The Magic School Bus, lost in the solar system. It was a trip day again in Miss Frizzle's class. Everyone was excited. We were going to see the planetarium, to see the sky show about the solar system. Solar system? Arnold's cousin Janet was visiting our class for the day. I know all of you will be nice to our guests, said Miss Frizz. We tried to be nice to Janet. We really did. As we got on the school bus, we told her that Miss Frizzle is the weirdest teacher in school. But Janet wasn't interested. She wanted to tell us all about herself. See? As usual, it took a while to get the old bus started. But finally we were on our way. As we were driving, Miss Frizzle told us all about how the Earth spins like a top as it moves in its orbit. It was just a short drive to the planetarium, but Miss Frizzle talked fast. They're on the bus. When we got to the planetarium, it was closed for repairs. Class, this means we'll have to return to school, said Miss Frizz. We were so disappointed. On the way back, as we were waiting at a red light, something amazing happened. The bus started tilting back, and we heard the roar of the rockets. Oh dear, said Miss Frizzle, we seem to be blasting off. See? Children were going through the atmosphere. When the roar of the rockets stopped, we looked around. Everything had changed. The bus had turned into a spaceship. We were all dressed in spacesuits, and we were lighter than feathers. We floated above our seats. Far behind in the black sky, we saw the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller. We were traveling in space. We had become astronauts. The Frizz said our first stop would be the moon. We got off the bus and looked around. There was no air, no water, no sign of life. All we saw were dust, rocks, and lots of craters. Miss Frizzle said the craters were formed billions of years ago, when the moon was hit by meteorites. Meteorites are falling chunks of rock and metal in the atmosphere. It was fun on the moon. We wanted to play, but Miss Frizzle said it was time to go. So we got back on the bus. We'll start with the sun, the center of the solar system, said Frizz, and we all blasted off. Looks like they're having fun, doesn't it? We zoomed towards the sun, the biggest, brightest, and hottest objects in the solar system. Jets of super hot gases shot out at us with the surface. Thank goodness Miss Frizzle didn't get too close. She steered around the other side and pulled away. We'll be seeing all the planets in order. Mercury is the first planet. It is the closest to the sun. Mercury was a dead, sun-baked planet. This planet is a lot like our moon. There is no water and hardly any air on it. Notice the craters on the surface as we pass by. Before long, we felt ourselves being pulled by the gravity of Venus. Venus is the second planet from the sun. Venus was completely covered by a thick layer of yellowish clouds. We will now explore the surface of Venus. Below the clouds, Venus was as dry as a desert. The ground was covered with rocks, and it was hot. It was about 400 degrees. That's much hotter than an oven baking cookies. The air was so heavy we could feel it pressing down on us. Miss Frizzle said there might be volcanoes around too. We said, let's get out of here. Our next stop is Mars, the red planet, the fourth planet from the sun. On our way, we'll be passing through the orbit of Earth, the third planet. The bus lifted off with a roar. As we came close to Mars, we passed its 2 moons, which are called Phobos and Deimos. Compared to our moon, they were tiny, and they weren't even round. Looking down, we saw a huge canyon. Miss Frizzle said it was as long as the United States. There was a volcano 3 times taller than the tallest volcano on Earth. And all around, there were channels that looked like dried up riverbeds. Wow. We landed and started walking around. Suddenly, a huge dust storm blew up. Miss Frizzle said the dust storm on Mars could last for months. They covered the whole planet. We scrambled back on the bus and we headed out. Mars is the last of what we call the inner planets. Miss Frizzle shouted about the roar of the rockets. We will now be going through the asteroid belt to the outer planets. Thousands of asteroids were spinning all around us. All at once we heard the tinkling of broken glass. One of our taillights had been hit by an asteroid. Miss Frizzle put the bus on autopilot and we went out to take a look. She kept on talking about the asteroids over the bus radio. Suddenly, there was a large snap. Miss Frizzle's tether line had broken. Without warning, the rockets fired up and the bus zoomed away. The autopilot was malfunctioning. The tether line is what was holding her, connecting her to the craft. Most of us were too scared to move, but Janet started searching the bus. In the glove compartment, she found Miss Frizzle's lesson book. As she began reading from it, a huge planet came into view. Class, this is Jupiter, Janet reads. It is the first of the outer planets and the largest planet in the solar system. We thought the school bus was going to land, but there was no solid ground to land on. Jupiter is a gas giant, a planet made mostly entirely of gas. As we left Jupiter, we wondered and worried, were we ever going to get home? What do you think? The next sight made us forget all of our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. It had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. I think I like Saturn. That is one of my favorite planets. Next was Uranus, a blue-green gas planet with faint gray rings and moons. Some scientists think they may be made of chunks of graphite, the material used in pencils on Earth. The bus was going faster and faster, and we could not control the autopilot. We swept past the stormy Neptune, another blue-green planet, 8th from the sun. All we could think about was finding Miss Frizzle. We were going fast. We almost missed seeing the 9th planet, tiny Pluto, which now they're saying that Pluto isn't a planet. They changed it. It's actually a dwarf planet. We were so far away from the sun that it didn't look big anymore. It just looked like a very bright star. We were leaving the solar system. Janet flipped rapidly through Miss Frizzle's book. Suddenly she found something new, the instructions for the autopilot. We punched in asteroid belt on the control. Slowly the bus turned around and it was working. We were going back. When we reached the asteroid belt, there was Miss Frizzle. Look at Miss Frizzle floating around. Miss Frizzle, back at the wheel, the bus headed straight for Earth. We re-entered the atmosphere, landed with a thump, and looked all around. We were in the school parking lot again. The rockets were gone, the spacesuits were gone, the bus was a wreck. Everything was back to normal. In the classroom, we made a terrific chart of all the planets and a mobile of the solar system. At last it was time to go home. It had been a typical day in Miss Frizzle's class. Now we had only one problem. Would anyone ever believe us when we told them about our trip? Do you think they'll believe them? I don't know. That was pretty fun. Miss Frizzle. It looks like she's going to go on an adventure into the sea next, doesn't it? Well, that was the Magic School Bus Lost in the Solar System. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed my Miss Frizzle Solar System hat and my dress. Have a great day. See you on the other side.